Good morning, children. Welcome to today's English class. Before going to the class, let me ask you some questions. What are you doing now? What are you doing? Good. You are listening to the class. Very good. Tell me, what did you do yesterday? What did you do? Tell me, children. Good. You played with your brother or sister. You finished your homework. Good. You ate your lunch and dinner. Very good. So, what did you do? You played, finished, ate. These are action words. Completed. Completed, or are you also play? Are you playing now? No. Okay. In today's class, we are going to learn about tenses. Tenses are mainly divided into three kinds. Those are past tense, present tense, and future tense. But what is a tense? The tense of a verb tells when an action happens. What does tense tell us? Tense tells us when an action happened. That means the time when an action happened by someone. Action happened or going to happen or happening now, we know with the tense. But in that tense of a verb, that verb is very important in the tense. So we have to focus on the verb. The tense of a verb tells us when an action happens. Present tense actions tell us what is happening now. What is happening now, we say in present tense. Past tense. Past tense means, past means already completed. The action completed. Future tense is action still not started or completed. That we say in future tense. Coming to past tense, an action has already happened. Action has already happened. That may be an hour ago, or 2 hours back, or 5 hours back, or last week, or last month, or previous year. These are all completed actions. Whatever happens before now. Whatever happened before now, we say in past tense. Did you get, children? Now, what is happening is present tense. Before now, what happened is past tense. Did you get, children? Good. Now let us see simple past. Simple past, by the word it is telling, is very clear and simple. What is past tense? Tell me, children. Completed. In this past, a simple past, we add V2 forms. V2 form of the verb. But when do we use past tense, children? We use past simple, simple past or past simple. Both are same. Don't get confused about that word. We use past simple to tell a completed action. To tell a completed action. So that action already completed, finished. Look at this example. When I was little, we lived in another village. That means they are not living now. In that village, they are not living. When he was little, they lived. In one more case, we use past simple or simple past, that is to express our past habits. That habit we don't have now. In the past, we have now. Look at the example. I woke up late when I was a teenager. At weekends, I woke up late when I was a teenager. That means he is not waking up late now. When he was a teenager, around 15 or 16 years, 13 to 19 years, we call a teenager. He woke up late when he was a teenager, but he is not waking up late now. So we use past simple or simple past to tell a completed action and our habits in the past. Is it clear, children? Good. But how do we form simple past of the verb, past tense of the verb? Or how do we form a simple tense sentence? To form a sentence, a subject is very important. That means the action done by whom the subject tells us. So clear? The verb must be in V2 form. The verb must be in V2 form. The main verb or the root verb we change into V2 form or past tense. Most past tense verbs end in ed. That means to the main verb, if we add ed, then definitely we can identify that verb is in past tense. There are some irregular verbs have special past tense forms. We have to remember them. For most verbs, we add ed, but there are some irregular verbs. We have to remember them. But don't worry, they have some patterns. There are no rules to help to form the past of irregular verbs. For regular verbs, just we add ed to the main verb. But for irregular verb, no. We have to remember them. But don't worry, still we have some patterns. If we remember some patterns, we can easily form that irregular verbs also. But not all the irregular verbs. Let us see. Usually what we have learned, most of the past tense form will be formed by ed to the main verb. When we add ed to the main or root verb. Look at this example. Walk, walked. We added ed. Talk, talked. We added ed. There is one more rule. If the verb ends in e, ends in e means the last letter. If the verb ends in e means the last letter. If the verb's last letter is e, then we just only add d. We don't add ed because already is there one e. Look at this one. Close. What is the last letter? E. That's why we are adding only d. Next example. What is the last letter in taste? E. So we add only d. Remember and observe, children. Next rule. If a verb ends with y, that means if the last letter is y, then we replace y with ied. If the last letter is y, we replace y with I, E, D. But not all the verbs ending with Y follow this rule. The verbs which are ending with Y, not all the verbs follow this rule. Let me give you one example. Read this word, P-L-A-Y. To form past tense of this verb, as per this rule, what we have to do? We have to replace Y with IED, but not in all cases. Because, observe here, what is the before letter of Y? R. In here, R. In this, what is the before letter of Y? Good. A. Remember children, if the before letter is a vowel, then we add ED. We don't remove Y and we don't replace Y with IED. Only if the letter is consonant, then we replace Y with IED. Okay children? Good. Now coming to next rule or next pattern. If a verb ends with L or B or T, that means if the last letter is L or B or T, what we do? We repeat the last letter or we double the last letter and add ED. Pat, patted. See, T is doubled or repeated the letter. TT. Travel, traveled. L. L is doubled and added ED. Remember these rules, children? Now look at this picture. Read the verbs on the screen. Share, shared. Study, studied. Call, called. Cook, cooked. This is regular verb. We have added ED to the main verb. This is also verb is ending with E. So what we have to do, if a verb is ending with E, we have to add only D. Coming to this picture, study. What is the last letter? Y. We have learned if a verb is ending in Y, we have to replace with IED. Only if the before letter is a consonant. But this is not the same rule for all the verbs. There are some verbs entirely change in spelling. See, eat, ate, run, ran, draw, drew, sing, sang, give, gave. If you observe, in these verbs, only one letter you can find difference in spelling. See here, sing, I, A. Only one letter change in spelling. We are not adding ED, we are not doubling the letter, or we are not adding IED. A change in spelling. But there are some words, they change, the spelling of that word completely changes. Catch, caught. Think, thought. Bring, brought. These all verbs we have to remember. For these kind of verbs, there is no pattern. We have to remember. Do you understand, children? Good. Now take your textbook. Get your pencil also ready, children. Don't forget that.